Hey Rebels, my name is Matthew Barton. Welcome to the Rebellion Brewing Podcast. We've all seen the big buck hunter video games in bars and restaurants. Maybe you've even plugged in a few loonies between some pints and wings. It seems like a fairly casual activity. But did you know Regina is home to some of the most accomplished competitors in the big buck hunter scene? They travel across North America in pursuit of competition and big prizes. Abby Rutko is one of those big buck hunters. She joins me today to talk about the game and explain the competitive scene. So let's get into it. Abby, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
How's your day going? How's your weekend going?
Oh, it's pretty good. Had a pretty casual weekend, but ready to get back at her today.
For those who maybe don't know you, who are you and what do you do?
Well, my name's Abby. I'm a corporate executive assistant at Connexus Credit Union by day. But in the evenings, I spend most of my time either crushing serial killer documentaries or playing buck hunter at Boston Pizza South in Regina.
How does that happen? How does that start, getting into buck hunter?
Well, it started when I was working at the university, and I frequented the Owl Bar quite, as most people do when they work there. And my friend said, "Hey, you should play this game." And I was like, oh God, like I'm really terrible at all other video games. Like the only thing that I probably was successful at was like Wii bowling, which doesn't say much, but I gave it a try and he was like, okay, you're like really good for someone who's never played before. And that was in the fall of 2016 and I've been playing pretty hardcore ever since.
Do you have a background in hunting and shooting?
I grew up in a small town, but not really. I would say that I don't really have a background in that, but you know, sometimes you get up to some shenanigans with your friends, but I'm not licensed or anything like that. So it's just casual and virtual for me at the moment.
So you realized very early on you were good at the game?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't feel like I was good because I was not getting the high scores that my friends who had played the game for a while were getting. But they were chatting me up and saying like, this is really good for someone who's never played before. So just keep working on it. And that's what I did. And I attended my first World Championships in 2019.
Okay. Let's back it up a sec.
Okay.
How did you decide to get good at the game, or what clicked for you to say, you know what, I can do this?
I would say when the cost didn't really seem like much anymore, like it seemed more of like a passion. And when that switch flipped, I was like, I could really get good at this game, and it's really something that I wanted to pursue. And then I just kept practicing.
Can you get free games for being really good? Like, can you continue your play like pinball?
So not really. Once you there's opportunities to win money back if you're doing like a target trek, or you do really well in a world competition, you get credits on your account that you can use towards the game, which are kind of free, I guess. But you obviously pay to play every time, so that you kind of get some back, but you don't really get free games.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're on your journey, you're learning, you're playing, the switch flips. How did you get to 2019 competition?
So it really came down to, for me, being a university student, I was like, this is not really something that I could afford to do. To go at the time when I was finishing my degree. But then in 2019, I just really committed and I set it as a goal. Like, this is a trip that I want to do. It was in Las Vegas in 2019. It's not somewhere that I'd never been before. And I just said, you know what, this is what I'm going to do this year for my trip. And I committed and got my scores in and qualified. I think I was 13th in the world for ladies that year.
13th in the world.
Yep.
Just straight from Boston Pizza.
Straight from Boston Pizza. That was my seeding, and then I ended up 11th overall for ladies.
On your very first
my very first competition, yeah.
So explain to me, help me understand and visualize, what does a competition look like? Is it a room full like 5 people? Is it hundreds of people, thousands of people?
So I would say there's easily anywhere between 300 to 500 people at the competition event itself. There's about 120 hunters. There's a big stage and all the games are projected above it, so you can watch. There's 5 machines generally on the stage at once, and you can watch the games that are projected above them, so you can participate in anyone's kind of position on the stage. And they just work your way through the bracket. It's a double elimination bracket, and you have to lose out twice to be fully out of the competition. But it's just, you play doubles, which is 2 people shooting at the same time. And so it's about accuracy and how fast you can shoot. So that's the way that the World Championship is set up. But to qualify, it's all single player. So that's kind of the difference between qualifying and being at the Worlds.
Is it stressful? How did you feel when you're competing?
Oh, my first year, I was very nervous, but I feel like I had the rookie advantage and the anonymity advantage going into that World Championship because nobody really knew who I was, and I just threw some scores up on the board and ended up in Vegas. And so I was pretty nervous. I played my first match. I lost immediately, but I was playing Melissa Van Humesen, who is one of the repeating female championships winners. And I was like, oh God, like I have to play her first. But it was a pretty close game, but I ended up losing. And then I just battled my way through the reloaded bracket.
The reloaded bracket?
That's what they call it. When you lose once and you are making your way through, you have a chance to go back to the final. But that's the B side, really.
From my background, my perspective, I like video games. I play a lot of video games. I've gotten like dead last in StarCraft tournaments, stuff like that. So I understand it's a big business and people get hardcore about this sort of thing. How many hours a week are you investing in this? I know guys who are doing like 80 hours a week just practicing their game.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I'm really lucky. Our Saskatchewan Buck Hunters group does fall and spring leagues, so I get a lot of practice in that way. So I'm usually playing at our machine maybe once or twice a week for 5 or 6 hours, depending on if it's a weekend or a couple nights during the week. But then when it starts to getting in, filling in your scores to qualify for Worlds, I'm putting in pretty good shifts on the weekends, probably 5 or 6 hours a day.
Does everybody know you on a first name basis now?
At Boston Pizza? Yes. Yeah, we have basically a designated table, and anybody's welcome to join, and you're welcome to go at any time. There's always someone there. But generally, we kind of occupy that table 101 right by the machine and put a couple of rounds in.
Do they have a little plate on the table with the Buck Hunter crew?
They don't have a plate on the table, but that corner of the bar is pretty stacked up with Buck Hunter memorabilia. We have our Canadian regionals from 2020. We have our trophies up there. Our league trophies are up on the wall. My friends Drew and Lauren, who introduced me to the game, they're champions. Lauren is the former first lady. She won the last ladies tournament in 2019, and Drew is the current world champion. He won in 2021.
So there's a lot of talent.
So their guns are on the walls, and there is a lot of talent, especially here in Regina.
Well, what's setting Regina apart?
I don't know. Maybe it's something in the water. Maybe it's all the beer we drink. I'm not really sure, but we're pretty committed to the game, and our friends in the States, they're always like, oh, the Canadians, and it's always just us that always come down. So it's fun, pretty fun, but I don't know what's in the water. It's wild.
Do you think it's like a culture of practice and dedication, or it's just we're just here to have a good time? And
honestly, I think it's a bit of both. I think, it's kind of tricky because we all kind of feed each other's addiction to the game. But it's all about being around the best kind of people, and we're all there to have a good time. And, no matter where you place, we're all just, big fans of the game and looking for the next win. So
tell me about what just happened with your last trip.
Okay. So this past weekend, I was in St. Paul, Minnesota, and our friends, the 7th Street Slayers from St. Paul, that's their buck hunting crew, they hosted a charity buck hunter tournament, raising money for a local organization down there that helps adults with intellectual disabilities. And so with the pandemic, they were feeling the money's tight, just like everyone else. So we came all together to raise some money for them. We ended up raising $6,000.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Not bad for a little weekend trip and playing the game that we all love.
Okay, I'm going to get down to the nitty-gritty now. You're fundraising thousands of dollars. What are the cash prizes? What are the purses and the rewards for competing?
So the grand prize is $20,000 US, and you're eligible to win that every year. And then there's also they just introduced divisions. So previously they had a separate ladies tournament, but that's just worked into a division now. So there's $5,000 prize pool for that. So if you are a female, and wherever you place, you also get additional stipend based on your ranking. And then they also have a rookie division. So if you're new to the game, you've never played before, never attended the World Championships, you're entered in that division to win. So those are the kind of main prize pools, and I think that one's $1,000. So if you're a rookie, a female, and you win the World Championship, you can win $26,000 US. Walk away from the competition with that, which is like insane to just like shoot some pixels on a screen.
Right. I was watching one video where the guy was deconstructing how the gun works, the pump action, the trigger, like really hardcore, and he's saying this is not a sensor, this is actually a webcam, and he's kind of breaking down how the game functions. And then he got into, if you're tall, you want to stand at this position. If you're short, you want to stand at this distance from the screen. And he's like breaking down the minutia of the game. So I wanted to ask you, what tips or tricks do you have when you walk into Boston Pizza for others?
Well, so my game style, I'm not a memorization person. There's lots of people who play the game that memorize each of the levels, understand the patterns and everything like that. That's not how I play. I'm an identify and shoot quick kind of girl. So I just see either horns and I just shoot, and I'm hopefully going to hit it in the head so it goes down in one, or get another couple taps in there and make them go down a little bit faster.
Do you deactivate the pump action? Do you just go straight trigger?
No, it's depending on, sometimes we play a little fun game and you don't have to use the pump to play. And we play one-handed sometimes. We call that the Alanis Morissette one-handed tournament. But I usually play, like, all gameplay is usually pump to reload and pull the trigger every time. Yeah.
In keeping with the theme of hunting and hanging out in the bush and just having some fun, today's beer kind of flows with that. It's called Camping Buddies. Mm-hmm. It's a brand new Rebellion beer. As of this recording, it only officially launched today. And it's a golden ale, 4.2%. I wanted to introduce you to it and see what you thought.
Perfect.
Cheers.
Cheers.
You would drink this?
Yeah. And I'm not just saying that because I'm here. But normally I like a light domestic beer. Pretty classy. But this is very good. I would absolutely have more than one glass.
For the listeners at home, I'm getting a lot of like bready, toasty aroma, kind of like that classic malt forward style. Not super sweet, not super hoppy. It's really, really balanced. If you're looking for something that's like light and easygoing, I think this could be it.
Absolutely. I mean, I wouldn't crown myself a craft beer gal, but I would definitely not hesitate to have this again.
Could you imagine having it around a campfire with some marshmallows and chocolate?
Oh, absolutely. A little graham cracker, a little Oh, I like maybe a little Nutella on the s'more. Ooh, that'd be good. With this and a koozie, that's my night.
Yeah, camping buddies in a koozie. I wanted to show you the art because the can, unfortunately, back up for the audience here. When I went to the tap room to go pick up the cans to bring out to the podcast, they're all sold out. And it's completely gone from the tap room and the new shipment hasn't arrived. So we're drinking from a growler today, but it's based on the Saskatchewan Parks sign, that classic brown sign with
nice.
the Western Red Lily.
Yeah.
People are freaking out about the art. Designed by Brianna Coffin. And we just wanted to give you that feel of easy summer chill.
Absolutely. That's exactly what I get out of this.
I'm glad you dig the beer. I'm going to send you home with some.
Good. Okay, great.
In terms of big buck hunter competition, I know you just had your competition, raised some money a couple weeks ago. What's next?
So right now, even this past weekend, I was putting in some scores for the 2022 World Championships. So basically, you have to have your top scores on each of the sites for each of the animals counts towards your overall total, and that's how you're ranked and seeded going into the World Championships. So I'm busy filling those in, and I'm climbing up the ranks quickly, but I haven't filled everything in yet, so I don't know my official ranking yet. So that's kind of what I've been busy doing lately, and probably will continue into the early summer just to get all those scores filled in and know my final ranking.
And then you'll fly down to the States?
Yeah, so this year it's in Chicago again. That's the hometown of the game developers. So it was really nice in 2021 to kind of see the area and get introduced to Chicago. I'd never been there before. So this year it'll be nice to kind of be in a familiar location and be able to do a little bit more sightseeing or other kinds of things. But the main event takes place over Friday and Saturday, I believe the 14th and 15th of October. And so the first day of gameplay happens on the Friday, and then Saturday the rest of the tournament happens. And it's really great setup there. The location that they have us in is awesome. And so I'm just really looking forward to getting together with a couple hundred of my favorite people.
Are you going to get like Team Canada buck hunter jackets?
Oh, yeah. We've done T-shirts every year. So this year we're trying to figure out what we're going to do. We just... we're chatting about it on our road trip back, actually, from Minnesota. So we're just trying to figure out what we're going to be donning when we go down to Chicago this year.
Well, Abby, thank you for your time today.
No problem at all. I'm so happy to be here.
Cheers. Rebels, thanks for listening today. If you have any questions or comments about this episode, be sure to join us on our brand new Facebook group page, the Rebellion Brewing Podcast. I'm also proud to let you know we're members of the Saskatchewan Podcast Network. It's a one-stop shop for tons of locally produced shows from across our province. And you can find them at saspodcastnetwork.com. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Untappd so you don't miss out on the latest in Sask craft beer news. Thank you for joining the Rebellion.